Uhuru, can everyone see me and hear me? Uhuru, everyone, can everyone see me and hear me? Just put a comment because I'm having some technical difficulties at the moment. So somebody please in the chat, please let me know if you can see me and hear me. Uhuru, I'm Valerie Bronte of the Uhuru Solidarity Movement, the organization of white people organizing in the white community for reparations to African people under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party. Today is our December 8th Solidarity Spear Study Live. We do a weekly political education of the Burning Spear newspaper, the voice of the International African Revolution, which is posted. Can see, thank you. Thank you, Comrade Kristen. Yes, as you're coming into the chat, thank you for validating that you can see and hear me. I'm a real girl. My name is Valerie Bronte. I am the coordinator of the Solidarity Spear Study. Like I said, it is our weekly political education, our study of the Burning Spear newspaper, which is the voice of the International African Revolution, is the news organ of the African People's Socialist Party, under whose leadership we organize. Uhuru Kever, yes, please share this to your timeline. Please share this to groups. Please invite people, comrades, friends, family, supporters that you think would be interested in the perspective of African internationalism. All right, well, it has updated. It has updated, moderator. All right, I want to salute our moderator, Johan Bedingfield. Just remember to toggle between the USM and your personal. Thank you. So yes, I want to just have everybody share it, put hashtag shared when you put it in the comments. We're going to let the audience build a little bit up. I'm going to introduce myself probably once or twice more, but what I want to explain is that we are under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party. So this is not another white left-led charity organization. We are part of a revolutionary strategy of the African liberation movement as led by the African People's Socialist Party, the indisputed vanguard, the advanced attachment of the African working class. So this is the revolutionary vanguard of the African working class, the African People's Socialist Party. So the Burning Spear is the voice of the International African Revolution. It's a print and online newspaper published by the African People's Socialist Party, and it understands the world through the political lens of African internationalism, which was developed by Chairman Omali Yeshitela. So Chairman Omali Yeshitela leads the African People's Socialist Party. It was founded in 1972 by the merging of three organizations: JELMO, the junta of militant organizations, the Black Rights Fighters from Fort Myers, Florida, and the Black Study Group from Gainesville, Florida. So the African People's Socialist Party leads the struggle of the African working class and the oppressed masses of the world against Western imperialism and parasitic capitalism and colonial domination that continues to this day, that started 6 centuries ago. The party recognizes, like internally within the US, we're on stolen indigenous land, and that African people are actually domestically colonized. They've been stolen from Africa. So what other people will say, like the Black community, we're talking about people from Africa, like Black and races and all of these things are understood by the party to be, the ideological creations of colonialism. And that scientifically, all that can be really said is that African people are from Africa, and Africa is their birthright wherever they have been dispersed by colonialism on the planet. So the African People's Socialist Party, I said that we are under their leadership. So they formed the African People's Solidarity Committee in 1976. And so by doing this, the African People's Solidarity Committee is a committee for white people to unite with their role in the African liberation movement as laid out by the African People's Socialist Party and Chairman Omali Yeshitela. So we are organizing in the white community, reparations to African people. We're bringing the African Revolution into the belly of the beast as white people to organize for reparations. The reparations are due as, we have to repair the damage that has been done by 6 centuries of colonialism. So Uhuru Solidarity Movement, we're the mass organization of the African People's Solidarity Committee. So We have three principles of unity. We're under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party, like I said before. We stand in solidarity with African self-determination, which means that, African people must lead their own liberation struggle. And we organize in the white community, reparations to African people. So you're going to hear me talk a lot about African internationalism and African revolution, but we're organizing the white community. I'm trying to win, my neighbors, my friends, to understand that we have a role to play in overturning parasitic capitalism, which we have benefited on the pedestal of colonialism. We have we are the beneficiaries of the genocide that has been taking place since Europe's first assault on Africa. And there's a way out of this, and we can see our way out of this, but we can't see it on our own. We can really only understand this through the leadership of the African working class. And that's why we study the burning spear. As white people, we can't even properly articulate the conditions and circumstances of colonialism from our perspective. We're the oppressor nation. So we study under the leadership of the African working class. We study the burning spear. Like, none of these ideas I could come to on my own, regardless of how many books I've read, like as Chair Jesse of the Uhuru Solidarity, Jesse Neville of the Uhuru Solidarity Movement says, no matter how many books I've read or how many, Marxist-Leninist conferences you go to, you can't understand the perspective of colonized people as the colonizer. So I want to salute, in conclusion, I want to salute the chairman of the African People's Socialist Party, Chairman Omali Yeshitela. I express my appreciation, the honor to organize reparations under the leadership of the party, and salute Deputy Chair Onezene Yeshitela, who leads the economic front of all the party's development work to build dual and contending Black power. And I want to salute the Department of Adjunct Prop Director of the African People's Socialist Party, Akile Anai, who is leading the Burning Spear newspaper now into its 50th year of uninterrupted publication. It is the oldest revolutionary newspaper that can say that, that's still in existence. So I want to salute our solidarity leadership, the first woman to unite with the reparations, revolutionary demand for reparations and white solidarity with Black power was Penny Hess. Penny Hess leads, she's the chairwoman of the African People's Solidarity Committee today, and is, just powerful leadership of, over 40 decades of white solidarity with Black power. The leadership of the mass organization, Uhuru Solidarity Movement, is where you've come today, is Jesse Neville. I want to salute Jesse Neville, powerful leader as well. So in order to stay in touch with us, in order to learn more about us, I want you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure that you have it set so that you can get notifications for when we go live, and to join us at 6 p.m. Eastern every Saturday for the Solidarity Spear Study Live. So I'm Valerie Bronte of Uhuru Solidarity Movement, and the article that we are going to study today is from the October 2018 Burning Spear. It is the cover. The Burning Spear newspaper is ours, the official publication of the African working class. So if you have the October 2018 Spear, that's wonderful. If you don't have it, the cover article is actually an update of an article that was published in the Spear that will be linked by our moderator, that is entitled The Burning Spear is Ours. So everybody share to your timelines, get in place, find, if you go to theburningspear.com, it's 2013 /03//burning-spear-is-ours. I want to say Uhuru to Comrade Hallie from Boston, Uhuru Boston, tuning in from Boston. Uhuru Kever, tuning in from Orlando, #shared, Uhuru Kever. Uhuru Olafin, Comrade Olafin, tuning in from Honolulu, Hawaii, I think at this moment. I want to say Uhuru. Uhuru Anhirsch, thank you for sharing. Thank you, Comrade. Evan Garner, Uhuru Evan, thank you for sharing from Asheville, North Carolina. All right. Uhuru Kristen, Uhuru John Hill. Yes, check out WBAI.org for your anti-imperialist news in the New York City area and online. So yes, please turn with us to the cover of your October 2018 Britney Spears, or get on the link. So on the cover, just so that you can see the artwork. So the Junta Militant Organization started publishing the Spear in 1968, and Amalia Shatella was the leader of JOMO, the Junta Militant Organization. So when JOMO merged with the two other organizations to form the African People's Socialist Party, they continued to print the Burning Spear from the African People's Socialist Party in 1972. So that is the December 22nd, 1968 Burning Spear. That's pretty exciting. I mean, there's just so many unique features that, you know, no other organization can claim, besides the, you know, African People's Socialist Party and all of its organizations. It's just, there's nothing like it on earth. Uhuru Diane, Uhuru from Gainesville, Florida shared, thank you. Uhuru, Valerie, South Reason, Kever, Ann. Yes, everybody from the South. I want to salute the Southeast region of Uhuru Solidarity Movement for really showing just a really strong showing today. This is great. So the Burning Spear newspaper is ours, the official publication of the African working class. So like I said, the following is an updated edit of an article published on theburningspear.com on March 29th, 2013 by the same title. Since its 1968 founding, the Burning Spear newspaper has been the foremost voice of political and material support for the world's oppressed and exploited Vietnam, Iran, Mozambique, Afghanistan, Pakistan, occupied Palestine, Zimbabwe, occupied Azania, South Africa, Cuba, Venezuela, El Salvador, Nicaragua, Ethiopia, Congo, Walter Rodney's Guyana, and wherever else the people are struggling against colonialism and tyranny. The Burning Spear newspaper has certainly been the glue most responsible for holding the African People's Socialist Party together as the revolutionary vanguard Black workers' organization. It has been the lifeline of our party and has kept the struggles of Africans colonized within U.S. borders before the world, even in the era of Barack Hussein Obama. From the movements of Free Joe Waller, that was Chairman O'Malley's colonial name, Connie Tucker and Pitts and Lee in Florida, to the movements and struggles to free Desi Woods and to abolish the death penalty, the fighting history, spirit, and fortitude of the African People's Socialist Party is recorded in the pages of the Spear. The movements to free African political prisoners and prisoners of war that resulted in the building of the African National Prison Organization, and the building of the African National Reparations Organization, and the subsequent 12 consecutive world tribunals that put the US government on trial for its crimes against African people were all recorded, promoted, and gave definition through the pages of our Spear. The great struggles for land reform with Measure O in Oakland, the Tampa Four, and the militant resistance movement to defeat the counterinsurgency in St. Petersburg, Florida, following the murder of Tyron Lewis, can be found in print in the pages of the Burning Spear newspaper, and the list goes on and on. With this said, when is the last time you sold a subscription to the Burning Spear newspaper? When is the last time you commented on an article posted on the Burning Spear newspaper.com or written a letter to the editor of the Burning Spear? When is the last time you sold your constitutionally required 100 copies of the Spear? Do you read the Burning Spear? Do you go to and read the Spear online? The Burning Spear newspaper serves the revolution. It belongs to you. They are the best weapons we've got in our contest of ideas with the ideas of the enemies of our people and all of humanity. A revolutionary organization can be judged by its commitment to print and publish its newspaper or journal on a consistent and timely basis. This commitment to print, however, is only part of the equation. Why this commitment is made is the other part of the equation. We print because it is absolutely necessary for a common denominator whose trajectory is forwarding and making the African Revolution. Continued on page 5. Sorry, start the whole sentence over. We print because it is absolutely necessary for a common denominator whose trajectory is forwarding and making the African Revolution to have the ability to bind us together in practice, in ideology, and in organization. We print because we are absolutely convinced, without a shadow of the doubt, that we are the voice of the oppressed, the advanced detachment of the international African working class. The burning spear is that voice. Without the burning spear, that voice is muted. In 1968, Chairman Omali Yeshitela, because the revolution demanded it, defied all the odds and found it out of the most adverse circumstances. Our news organ, the Burning Spear newspaper. The Burning Spear is ours. Facebook is not ours. Twitter is not ours. The New York Times is not ours. Democracy Now! Is not ours. The Oakland and Chicago Tribune are not ours. All of these things belong to the bourgeoisie. Why would we love and promote them more than the Burning Spear, which is ours? In fact, why would we love them at all? The burning spear is a mighty weapon in the hands of the oppressed. These other things are mighty weapons in the hands of the oppressor. We use them as we use the electoral process to forward the revolution, not at the expense of or a substitute for revolutionary practice, communication, and journalism. And how can we justify making 100 comments on Facebook in 2 weeks and not a single comment on theburningspear.com in 4 months? This is inexcusable. The Burning Spear newspaper is our weapon to promote cohesiveness, camaraderie, sameness, unity, and African revolution. And above all, selling the Burning Spear is the basic day-to-day work of the party cadre and membership. Let's get organized and put the spear in the hands of the people. Keep the spear burning. Contribute today, theburningspear.com /donate. And this is a special edition of the Burning Spear, where African women have always been at the forefront. African women have always been leading. So I really want to appreciate this article. It's an older article, and it's certainly speaking to the advanced detachment, the revolutionary vanguard of the African working class, the African People's Socialist Party. The African People's Socialist Party is reaching out in this article to its membership saying, you know, this is ours. This is our weapon in the war of ideas with the bourgeois-dominated mainstream media. And for a colonized person, for an African and colonized person, like, we don't experience the world in the same way as colonizers, as the oppressor nation. We live on a pedestal of colonialism that is rooted in the brutal domination, enslavement, and exploitation of Africa and her people for 6 centuries that is happening even today. And it's something that we see our entire economy. We see, like, we're not at war. The United States is not at war in Africa, yet we have troops all over in all of the countries where resources are being fought over, where resources are being, scrambled to take and remove and extract the wealth from Africa into Europe and the United States. The wealth that is now the subject of the uprisings in Paris that have made the news. Of the tax hikes of the far right and the ultra left coming together against having to pay a fuel tax increase. That all is existing on the pedestal of colonial domination and oppression, especially from France, of Africa and its people. And that's something that You're not going to hear in The Guardian. You're not going to hear that in the New York Times. You're going to hear that in an op-ed or something like that. But the media that we consume, Facebook, Twitter, any of these platforms that we consume, the whole purpose of it is capitalistic. So, of course, it's never going to be in support of an agenda or a perspective where the objective is to take down the Western domination of the rest of the world. And I think that's just really important for us to understand. And if you're not convinced of it yet, you're convinced of it today, or you're convinced of it this week, with the death of the war criminal, sex predator, aiding and abetting and possibly participating in financial war profiteer who recently died, who was the 41st president of the United States, which is a country that was founded on parasitic capitalism and the genocide of indigenous people, which allowed us to capitalize on the land using the stolen labor and lives of African people. And that is what Marx identifies as the basis of capitalism, was this attack on Africa and Africans by the millions stolen from Africa and forced into slavery in the Caribbean and in areas of New England at first. There's the entire United States East Coast was built with slave labor. And the demand for reparations is not only something that's recognized as completely legitimate by international law, it's just simply 600 years. It's too long to owe anybody anything. And you see that we have, as white people, inherited the legacy of the slave master, of those who are able to exploit this arrangement and who live on this pedestal of colonialism. Everything is done to ensure that we have a greater standard of life than everybody else in the entire world. And that's just, it's unconscionable at this point when you see that resources like water, like we see our ocean ecosystems collapsing, we see climate change causing catastrophic weather patterns. And it's just unconscionable that you would think that, oh, I'm sorry, less than 1 billion people were 1/7 of the world's population, or less than 1/7 of the world's population are white European descendant people. And yet we have the greatest standard of living compared to anyone else in the world. 80% of the world is living on less than $10 a day, and 50% of the world is living on less than $2.50 a day. And that's not the news you're getting. You're getting the legacies of somebody that's responsible for millions of deaths, the devastation of Iraq, the cover-up of just incredibly illegal and terrorist activities against Iranian people. Like, we're thinking about the stable conditions right now in the Middle East, and especially with what's happening right now with our support of Saudi blockades of the ports in Yemen, so that people are starving. And here it is, December 8th, and they're estimating that 1 million additional people will be starving this month, that people are going to die in a country that, in a world where we have all the resources and technology to feed, clothe, and house every single last person of 7.5 billion people. But it's all been hoarded in Europe and in North America by private corporations, by the white ruling class. And so the unrest that you see in Paris is the middle class realizing, the white middle class realizing that they've been deprioritized from the imperialist agenda, from the capitalistic agenda. So there's just, we're seeing the crisis play out. And the chairman understands this as not the crisis of imperialism, but imperialism is all of it. It's all of it. We have set this agenda, this toxic agenda around the world through our domination of resources, our domination of trade, our domination of banking. And it's all for the benefits of the white ruling class. It's all just for white power. So why would you continue to support a system, that's definitely on a sinking ship? We're seeing it in crisis right now because of the righteous resistance of colonized people all around the world. We're seeing it in resistance right now, in crisis right now, and we're seeing the victory of the African People's Socialist Party. We're seeing the African People's Socialist Party leading the strategy it's coming from the African working class, the most maligned group in the history of humanity. They will be the ones who will be leading the revolution to destroy parasitic capitalism and colonialism once and for all. And as white people, you can be a part of a revolutionary strategy to end colonialism once and for all and turn the world right side up again, as the chairman says, by divesting of white power, by divesting of this system and paying reparations to the African Revolution to build dual and contending Black power for the African working class to lead the struggle for liberation against this domestic colonialism that's facing right now and against the looting and extortion of Africa. So this is an international movement. So we're the Uhuru Solidarity Movement. Like I said, I'm Valerie Bronte. I'm part of the Uhuru Solidarity Movement. We organize in the white community for reparations to African people. So that's what we do. That's the solidarity. That's the strategy, is to get the resources which have been stolen and hoarded back where they belong, to build a future where no one lives at the expense of anyone else. And that's what we support. So every week we have the Solidarity Spear Study live. We do a live broadcast. And we study an article from the Burning Spear, and then I call on everybody in the white audience. I say, hey, we are a party of practice. Uhuru Solidarity Movement, as one of the organizations of the African People's Socialist Party, is a party of practice. We're practical revolutionaries. That's what the chairman says. So we raise reparations every week with a study because we have a pledge to the African Revolution every month. So it goes straight to the Black Power Blueprint, which is the African People's Education and Defense Fund in St. Louis, Missouri. Community center, an outdoor garden, community gardens, actually is going to be 2 of them, renovated housing for the community, a bakery, cafe, and community commercial kitchen is slated to open in 2019. It'll be the Uhuru Community Commercial Cafe and Kitchen. It'll be a place to meet, a place to eat, liberated territory within the Black community that is under attack from gentrification and gerrymandering. And St. Louis is not unique. St. Louis is every city, it's every Black community in the United States. And so the Black Power Blueprint needs to be everywhere. So today's goal for this study is $75. And if you have $75 right now, that would be totally awesome. So just put it in the comments. And my moderator is going to post our link. It's at uhurusolidarity.org. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about Black Power Blueprint and all the things we're doing this month to support the Black Power Blueprint and to celebrate the 50 freaking years, y'all, of the Burning Spear newspaper. So I just want to go into the comments and greet anybody else who's come in. Uhuru Judas, awesome. Welcome. Okay, so I want to, this is awesome. Okay, so $75 today. Ann Hirsch, we owe reparations. I'll contribute $10 today. Uhuru Ann, leading regional coordinator of the Southeast of the Uhuru Solidarity Movement in St. Petersburg, Florida. Very awesome. Thank you, Ann. And Kevin says, Uhuru, I can throw in $5 today. Great, we're already down to $60. So that's what's left on our pledge today is $60. Thank you very much to Kever and Anne. Kever tuning in from Orlando. Let me look at the comments. Excuse me, I have a little bit of a dry voice. We've been turning on our heaters. And of course, I'm like totally dehydrated now. All right. Okay, great. So yeah, this is just an incredibly powerful article because we understand, like when we get on Facebook, when we get on Twitter, and we get on Instagram, what we're being encouraged to do is not only participate in their facial recognition software, but to turn our location and give our GPS and let people know who we're connected to, let people know who we keep tabs on so they can sort of map out our networks and understand what the demographics are of the people that are in our networks. Very interesting, right? Well, of course that they would be doing that. Of course, the mainstream media is going to be talking about Bush's funeral and can't believe that 90,000 cops were needed to arrest 1,000 people on the Champs-Élysées today. I mean, that's 90 for every one person that was arrested. I mean, that's the future right there. That's the future. It's just they're just going to put more police to suppress people. And I think we need to understand that the role of the police is not anything about law and order, but the role of the police has always been to protect the interests of the white ruling class and protect the property of the white ruling class. And it was, it was clear as day if you were watching any of that video footage. So Diane Tournay tuning in from Gainesville can do $5 today. Uhuru, that's awesome. So that we have now $20 up our $75 goal. We have $55 left today for today's study. December has already been a really awesome month, and we have so much going on throughout Uhuru Solidarity Movement that I have such a long event list that I actually have to start probably sooner and can't give you so much analysis, but I really want to talk to you about the Burning Spear newspaper sales competition. So all of the comrades that are on right now, you know about it, but you need to know more about it. You need to sign up. I have not, because George Bush died last week and the post office was shut down. I don't have my December Spears yet either, so it has been extended to January 7th. So there'll be an extra week in which to sell your spears. Now, if you've never sold the Burning Spear before, it's an exhilarating experience because first off, the spear, every article is incredibly powerful and well written and really drills down the material conditions that are the rude contradictions of things that people are facing today. And really, it's all from the perspective of the African working class. So you're not going to be able to get this perspective anywhere else. So you're selling a newspaper that is completely unique. It's the oldest revolutionary newspaper. It is $1. And everybody needs to sign up for this spear competition because I know in New York City, I could just stand outside of a subway and say, do you want to talk about how white people play a role in the African Revolution? And I could definitely sell 25 spears. So if you think you can't sell spears, I want you to private message me. I want you to message Uhuru Solidarity Movement. I want you to message info@uhurusolidarity.org, and you can sell spears. All of us can sell spears. And so when we're out on the tables and we're meeting people, we want to talk about the spear. We want to talk about the voice of the international African Revolution. We want to talk about the perspective of the African working class, because that's what we're doing as part of the Uhuru Solidarity Movement, is bringing the African Revolution, the voice, we're bringing African internationalism into the white community. So I want to look at the comments here. Thank you for joining. If you just joined, Uhuru Kristen returning $10 today. Uhuru Comrade from Spokane, Washington. Thank you, Kristen. And Uhuru Johan, our fabulous moderator, returning $10 today. So we are now down to $30 left. So that's totally awesome. I want to thank again Comrade Johan Benningfield, Kristen Forthen, Diane Tournay, Kever, and that is a total of $40 off our $75 goal. So we're actually at 35. Sometimes I can't count down very good in my head, but I want to appreciate everybody for joining us on this study today, and just really also appreciate the history of the Burning Spear newspaper. So please, comrades of Uhuru Solidarity Movement, now is your time to get over your stage fright, your social anxiety about speaking to people, and realize people want to know this, and they need to know this, and they're waiting for you to tell them that there is an alternative to this parasitic, fucked up system that is killing everyone and making everyone sick. And you know what it is. You know exactly what it is. And Chairman Amalia Shatella has created this alternative for white people to jump off the pedestal of colonialism, to commit class suicide, to turn loose their whiteness within the white community, to raise reparations to African people. And people say, oh my God, reparations, but I didn't have slaves, and I don't have, my family didn't have slaves. Like, am I being punished? And it's not punitary. It's not a move to punish you. It's a move to move beyond the fucked up situation that we're all in now. That's 100% European and North Americans' responsibility to make a self-criticism and make a change. And that's what we're working for. It's like, it's not about you personally and your feelings. It's like, well, what kind of future do you want? Do we want a future? I mean, the way things are going now, even the white ruling class is saying that we're running out of time. And they're not saying like, oh, we have to like clean up the environment, or we have to stop driving, we can carpool or ride bikes. What they're saying is that we need to change the entire economic system. And why is that? Because the way we do everything is completely fucked up. Because we dump all of our trash in the ocean because it's cheaper. We dump all of the dyes that we used to make cheap clothing that you buy at Forever 21 into the drinking water of local people in Sri Lanka because it's cheaper. And we do this so that we can, as white people, can have 22 times the wealth on average in our families as an African family. And at the rate of economic development, which has been, just pick up a history book, just Google, has been purposely sabotaged, attacked, and demolished here in the United States. But certainly the continent of Africa has been purposely underdeveloped, with civil wars being exacerbated by the colonial domination, and then they're still pimping out Africa today to these private corporations, and we call it neocolonialism. That's all rooted in colonialism. There's no neo anything. It's just that it's owned by a Canadian mining company now, instead of having it be a royal patent, which illegitimately was in the 1500s and 1600s. It's completely illegitimate then, and it's illegitimate now. So we have $35 left on the study today. We have 10 viewers. If everyone put in $5, I'd kill the study goal. It would be perfect. If people put in $3.50. Everyone puts in $3.50. So I want to go through our events. Not only is the Burning Spear competition extended to January 7th of 2019 and already heating up, and absolutely no excuse exists of why you can't join the Burning Spear competition and sell the spear. You're going to learn a lot about yourself. You're going to learn a lot about how to talk to people. You're going to kill your social anxiety because you're actually saying something important in your life for once. Hey. So we also try to bring our African internationalism to social media, because social media could be a place where we all just give up our information and selfies and locations to the state, and so they can compile nice cases against us to blackmail us with later, or we can be introducing African internationalism and building the culture of white reparations. And you want to be a part of that, I need you to go to the 5 p.m. meeting tomorrow night of the Uhuru Solidarity Movement Social Media Committee. Contact is social@uhurusolidarity.org if you want to get more info. Later on that tomorrow evening at 7 p.m., the Uhuru Solidarity Movement Tours Committee is meeting to build All Diamonds or Blood Diamonds tour. And you can contact info@uhurusolidarity.org to join that committee or get more information about that meeting tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. It's a call-in meeting. You don't have to physically be there. December 11th, that's Tuesday coming up. Every iPhone's hidden price is the Uhuru Solidarity Movement webinar featuring Penny Hess. You can watch it live on Facebook. You can also watch it live on YouTube. On December 12th at 5 p.m. Eastern at the Teresa Burns Gallery in the East Village will be the Uhuru Solidarity Movement New York City Open Meeting. And so you'll contact info@uhurusolidarity.org to check that out. December 17th in Philadelphia at the Good Karma Cafe in Washington Square at 1 p.m. Eastern will be the Uhuru Solidarity Movement Philadelphia Open Meeting. Contact info@uhurusolidarity.org. So coming up, something I'm going to be participating in is the Uhuru Pies 10,000 Pies for Black Power Blueprint campaign event. I was in Oakland, California for the Thanksgiving week, and I will be in St. Petersburg, Florida for the weekend right before Christmas, December 20th through the 24th in Oakland and St. Pete. You can sign up to volunteer baking, making pies, selling pies and more. The Facebook event link will have all the information about how to get in touch so that you can volunteer for these events December 20th through 24th. And then I'm so excited. I'm going to be in St. Pete live for December 22nd's Burning Spear newspaper 50th anniversary interview with Chairman Amalia Shatella. So that's going to start at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, and you can watch it online. You can watch it in person, like I'm going to. I'm really excited. Or set up a viewing party. There are people in your life that need to know this. So yeah, get them together and say, hey, this revolutionary newspaper of the African People's Socialist Party has been in print for 50 years. Let's watch this incredible historic interview with Chairman Amalia Shatella, and you'll have 3 to 5 people, and yeah, it's definitely going to be powerful. Like, let us know if you want to throw a viewing party, and we'll help you every step of the way. So April 13th and 14th will be the Uhuru Solidarity Movement National Convention in St. Louis, Missouri. Contact info@uhurusolidarity.org. On Mondays, 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m., Uhuru Solidarity Movement Boston has their open meeting at Boston Public Library at Copley Square in the Newsfeed Cafe. 6 p.m. Central, USM St. Louis has their open meeting at Lemp Neighborhood Arts Center. Contact St. Louis at uhurusolidarity.org. Mondays, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, Uhuru Solidarity Movement St. Pete has their open meetings, Panera Bread Community Room, and that's 1908 4th Street North, St. Petersburg. That's Florida, not Russia. And there is an event link for that here on Facebook to get more information. We're going to start building the 2019 Uhuru Solidarity Movement National Convention, and it was just so incredible last year and 2017. You really want to get that weekend off now and make plans to be there. It's going to be in St. Louis, Missouri. If you want to be part of the National Committee to build the 2019 USM Convention, email info@uhurusolidarity.org. The meetings will be Fridays at 11 a.m. And that brings us to today, Saturdays, every Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern. I want to see you here for the Uhuru Solidarity Movement Solidarity Spear Study Live. Sundays, 8 a.m. Eastern, O'Malley Taught Me Political Study with Chairman Amalia Shatella. Watch it live on Facebook. Watch it live on YouTube. There's a Q&A section. It's always incredibly powerful. There's always tons of people viewing from all over the world. And like I said, of course, because the African People's Socialist Party is the undisputed revolutionary vanguard. So you have to check that out. You can also listen in on blackpower96.org. So those are all of our announcements today. So I want to say Uhuru and thank you for everybody who stuck around. We have a lot of incredible events coming up in December. Every Monday, I think every chapter is meeting of the Uhuru Solidarity Movement that it has active open meetings right now. Ooh, I want to salute Maz. They're tuning in from Portland, Oregon. They coordinate for Uhuru Solidarity Movement in Portland, and they coordinate our Reparations Challenge campaign. So our Reparations Challenge campaign is a great way to return the resources that have been stolen and hoarded in the white community. But it's a fundraiser. Like it's something that you could do like a bake sale, or say you know how to surf or play tennis, you could give out a lesson. If you're a massage therapist, you could do massage therapy and then make part of that reparations to the Black Power blueprint. So whatever you do or whatever skill or talent you have can be returned as reparations. Art that you make can be returned as reparations. Clothing that you make can be returned as reparations. Music that you sell can be returned as reparations. There is no end to the creativity that's possible with reparations. Yes, Mads. Yes, Anne, I did see Mads' contribution. I actually have it posted up on the screen right now. I was about to read it, but I wanted to talk a little bit about the incredible reparations the Reparations Challenge campaign that Mads leads. So I can't stay, but I wanted to salute the African working class for 50 years of uninterrupted revolutionary media. Definitely want to salute that. And show my solidarity by paying reparations of $10. So that is $25 left on today's study goal of $75 of resources that we don't really understand. As white people, we can't really connect as white people. We can't really connect without the appropriate leadership. Like we have being under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party. We can't like really connect like how the wealth that has been concentrated in the white community, it all stems from the stolen lives and labor of Africans and how brutal, the intense, brutal colonial history that we have, just devastated the world with at our, so just that we could have nice things and we could not have to dump our garbage in our own backyard, but we could just dump it into the ocean, like all of those things, like, We can't connect it. It's absurd. It doesn't make sense to us. But it is the materialist understanding. So like the $25 that exists here is less than somebody might pay for a bowl of pasta at a really nice restaurant tonight. I was noticing that I get a lot of like ads because you get a lot of ads on Facebook and Instagram because they're built for advertising. They're not built so that they can showcase our creativity or so that we can have a platform to share our voices. That is how we're exploiting them for our own purpose. And even that's the case here. But the reason that those exist is so that you're turning over your personal information so that people can advertise to you better. So I get advertised, sometimes I get advertised some really funny things, but I'm being advertised now constantly. It's like somebody's haunting me. It's a giant sneaker, an oversized Alexander McQueen sneaker, and it looks like a baby shoe. It is $595. And every single time I see it, I'm constantly laughing. So it's just so ridiculous. So if you want to laugh at what people spend their money on and just how ridiculous skewed and fucked up this world is, it's not funny really though. Like none of it's actually funny. You laugh because you have to do something to mitigate the despair and anxiety that you understand, knowing that you have self-imposed, your isolation is self-imposed. We've alienated ourselves, North Americans and Europeans, we've alienated ourselves from the entire human race. And that's what reparations is a stance of. Reparations is a stance of self-criticism for the stolen, hoarded resources. By returning resources, we're saying we want to build for a world where this doesn't happen again. This is a self-criticism that we're taking as European descendants, as North American people, as white people. We're saying, I don't want to live in that kind of world. It's not worth it. Like, I don't want my children to inherit that kind of world. You know, and I see people and they're having kids today. And I'm talking to kids, and we're also what was in the mainstream media today. Oh, the young Swedish girl who's 15 who's saying, I'm not coming to the UN to beg the world leaders about climate change. She's already given up hope. How many of you have 15-year-old children? I have a 21-year-old brother, and he's already given up hope. And he can't be the only one. And I have friends, and they have little kids, and little kids are absolutely beautiful. And you think, what kind of world are they going to have? Even the UN is betting against everyone. And the African People's Socialist Party is just indubitably winning. So it's just within your self-interest to unite with this urgent need for reparations to the African Revolution so that nobody lives at the expense of another person. So I want to salute Evan Garner from Asheville, North Carolina, who tunes in to the study during work every Saturday, and I have so much appreciation for this comrade. This comrade is pledging $10 in return stolen resources this Monday, bringing our total down to it was $25. It's now $15. So $15, that means we've raised $60 in reparations, just in appreciation of the study and what we can do as white people to urgently overturn our relationship to colonialism as the beneficiary, as the parasite of the rest of the world. And this has just been like a really powerful study. I absolutely want to encourage everyone again to join the Burning Spears sales competition. As soon as I get back to New York and get my first batch of spears that have been delayed by, the whole nation falling apart, falling over itself, to bid farewell to someone that's responsible for millions of deaths, and quite possibly cover-ups of the most disturbing murder sex ring I've ever heard in my entire life. I remember being a child, because I was cognizant enough at the time, and hearing the stories. Oh, you got to report any sort of creepy strangers and abuse. You definitely want to report creepy strangers and abuse to parents, to police. Like, you definitely want to make sure that you tell people. And at the same time, the headlines were that kids who were speaking out, kids in foster care that were speaking out about abuse in Nebraska, they were all part of a elaborate hoax. And we see that today. We see that today in the prevalence of rape culture, where somehow the most vulnerable sectors of society have the fact that they were victimized turned around against them, that they're trying to take somebody down, not that they've already been completely demolished, and that's something that is rooted in European violence and colonialism, and the widespread rape and exploitation of Indigenous and African people that happened on this land. That is why it is still happening today and is covered up by the most powerful elite people in the world. Is this colonial legacy? Is this perversion? Is this sadism? And we don't have to be a part of that. We don't have to be a part of that. You can say no more colonial genocide in my name. You can say no more institutionalized child abuse and child rape in my name. The Roman Catholic Church does not represent me. The United States government does not represent me. I organize in the white community for reparations to African people under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party. That is one thing you can say if you join Uhuru Solidarity Movement. So go to Uhuru Solidarity Movement, put in your pledge today, become a member. You can become a member at with as little as $10 a year for a fixed income membership. A general membership is $25 if you can swing it, and you can be a sustaining member at any amount starting at $5 a month. And your sustaining membership allows resources to come in on time for the African Revolution, for the programs of the Black Power Blueprint every month. And so I want to salute everybody that was on the study today and let you know that we have $15 left of today's pledge. So I want to certainly thank everybody who has been instrumental in getting us so far ahead. You know, I understand that there's only 9 people left, but if you have a couple more dollars, if you can put $5 more in on your pledge that you made today to get us, I just need 3 people to put in $5 more, and we will get our pledge of $75, which is our pledge for every Burning Spear study. So when we don't make our pledge, which happens because, you know, it just happens. Like, I consistently, we have to make our pledge. So we do. But if we don't make our pledge on one week, it just gets rolled into the next week because I am accountable for this revenue stream and absolutely make our pledge. So I want to thank everybody who has been participating and pledging the resources, the stolen hoarded resources to the African Revolution. And I want to say Uhuru, which is the Swahili word for freedom. We are called upon, the African People's Socialist Party, to say Uhuru, keep Uhuru on our mind 24/7. Keep freedom, African liberation, this liberated future on our mind 24/7. So it is almost 7 o'clock. I have 10 viewers. Who's adding $5 to their pledge? Uhuru, yes. Uhuru, Kristen. Kristen is returning $5 more to her pledge, making her pledge $15 today to Uhuru Solidarity Movement. We have $10 left. So is anyone else going to pledge it? Uhuru. See, comrades, I'm pumped for reading that article. Johan had selected that article for us to read a couple of days ago. And then I was like, that's the article from the October 2018 cover. And it's so powerful. It's so mobilizing. I hope that you felt the same way today, that you're going to get out there and you're going to sell spears in the white community. Because people have $1, number one. Number two, they have to hear this, and you have to tell them. So, Kristen, returning $5 more today. Uhuru, Kristen, that's so powerful. Kever, putting in $5 more again. There we go. So we have $5 left. And Diane Batiste, our comrade extraordinaire in Costa Rica, Florida, Uhuru, salute to you. An extra $15. We've made our study goal of $75 today, and we have exceeded it by $10 to $85. Go to uhurusolidarity.org. Become a member if you're viewing this live stream for the first time. Pay reparations and put a little note in your reparations payment that is for the Solidarity Spear study for December 8th. It was a complete honor, as always. Salute the chairman of the African People's Socialist Party, Chairman Amalia Shatella, and I want to thank everybody for being a part of today's Spear study. I will see you next week. Uhuru.